Time for another DraftPhysics.com update video on YouTube. Eek. So anyway, I did put the last video also on YouTube as a unlisted video. So if you wish to post a link to a forum or some other place and you want to post the YouTube copy of the video just to make it a little easier, then I'll provide that link below to this video, which is a copy of this video. Anyway, a YouTube copy. Anyway, because it's a good video, frankly. It just points out how kinetic energy is nonsense, how the whole theory of how motion moves in the universe, they really haven't improved it in the last 300 years. They've really gone backwards rather than forwards in terms of understanding. Descartes and these other people were doing a better job than physicists are doing now in terms of tying things together. Part of that is certainly, well, there's lots of places to look for the fault, but it's certainly not in ourselves in the sense it's like certain characters, Einstein, whatnot, who really just started people looking in all kinds of wrong directions for how the universe functions. So anyway, it's just this simple argument. It's all the same thing. Energy, force, weight, momentum, work. It's all the same thing. It's all measured the same way. It all comes out with the same number. There's just no way of really getting around it. You have weight because gravity gives it to you. Gravity is a force. It is doing work. Blah, 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 blah. And you really all should be able to figure this out. And the evidence is so elemental. The evidence against what you're saying is so elemental that you really can't sustain these silly fantasy perceptions of reality. There's no place for your little glitter extra energy. There's no place for it. It can't function. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. It's so illogical. And I would like to hear a counter argument. And I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. So anyway, I also did some other videos. So yesterday's video, I did the Hilster video, or the day before, whatever it was. Yeah, day before maybe, Saturday. Just talking about generalities, but some of this stuff is significant in some way or other about how the world is turning. Not all physics, more about how people communicate, some of that kind of crap. So I did call it a crap video because, I call it a junk video. But it's really not hard physics. Then the Casimir effect, which often people cite as meaning something, like it somehow supports some sort of whatever, quantum foam bullshit, or space just produces energy, space just makes matter, kind of nonsense. It's too silly. Anyway, and then I did another video where they talked about vectors and scalars, and obviously these are exactly the same thing. So you're looking at exactly the same thing, and you sit there and say it's a scalar, and then you say it's a vector. No, it's one thing. It's not a scalar and a vector. It's describable. It fits a definition. It doesn't sit there and it can't be at the same time you know what direction it's going and then you don't know what direction it's going. I mean, it's just too silly, and it's all part of the kinetic energy crapola. Where they use this excuse that somehow kinetic energy is some sort of scalar energy, and therefore it can just disappear and then come back and then disappear and come back and disappear, or something like that. It's just too stupid. So then I did a kinetic energy video with the lever example. Not perfect because I didn't point out how the animation I found wasn't flawed in just one way. It was flawed in two ways. You can't even find accurate, simplifications or animations for their physics. It's just so bad. It's so sloppy. And then I did a video on the Boyd-Bushman gravitational experiment, really just pointing out how it wouldn't be any big surprise if magnets, did in fact move a little faster or slower depending on which way they were oriented when they were falling in gravity on a planet that has a magnetic field. That yes, the magnetic attraction would add to their velocity and magnetic repulsion would detract from their velocity. And I don't think that would be an amazing discovery. And frankly, though, they haven't done an experiment well enough to dissect that, because the experiments are done either, I'm just going to drop stuff off a building. You tell me which one lands first, kind of nonsense. Or, they do it with incredible lab techniques, but they do the experiment from this high a distance, and you're not going to find anything in that. So, just always flawed. There's just flaws. The physics is so undercooked. I don't know why you people like your physics. I shouldn't say raw, because that would imply it was pure. I mean, it's completely. It's just all bath water. There's no baby in this stuff. Why do you like drinking bath water? Propaganda, hype. There's nothing else. It has nothing else going for it but propaganda, hype, prestige. Everybody says so. I mean, that's all. You've got all the wrong reasons to jump off their cliff. And, I haven't seen anybody admit, I'm not going to jump anymore, Gary. I figured it out. I understand. I'm not going to jump. But no. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I mean, it just is too weird. Out of all these reasoning people on Earth, all these smart people that can do reasoning, how can you all be convinced by this mush? It's so bad. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, that's it. I just don't get it. All right. But I don't have to, right? The universe doesn't have to make sense. I mean, parts of it do, though, actually. I mean, they have to have this consistency. There are rules. And the rule is that this many smart people shouldn't be this stupid. But you have to put in the drunk on bullshit factor, I don't know. When they just weren't taught how to be reasonable before they were taught what they were supposed to reason about. They were given a bunch of stuff to reason before, it's like juggling. They were just thrown stuff and said, juggle it. Instead of it was explained to them first what juggling is and some principles so they could get the idea of what they got to do. And so you're just all doing it the hard way. You should have figured out what logic was before you attempted to do any. Because you're doing it so bad. All right. So that's enough now. So I would appreciate if somebody can find an argument, find somebody to make the argument somewhere, like I said, I can't really post on forums because I get blocked so quickly. But if you can sneak it into some forum where they have to explain, why is this guy crazy? And if they're just going to say F equals MA, too silly. I mean, the odds are they're not going to be willing to watch a 50-minute video, And that's the sad truth. They really don't have to watch the 5 minutes, but whatever. They won't watch that either. So, it just really is quite tragic, life on Earth. Okay, so that's it. Unnecessarily tragic, let's put it that way. Yes, quite unnecessarily tragic. I'm giving you every tool you need to understand. Every little fact and bit of information you need to understand, and you're not understanding. And it's too silly. So anyway, this has been a DraftPhysics.com video presentation. Till the next time and such.